Whether it's the regular season or the off-season, we have you covered as we give you the best Tennessee Titans and NFL news and insight that a fan could ask for. You're watching the Titan Upload Network.
Watching the Power Hour with your hosts, Michael Bishop and Tyler Staggs.
The Power Hour is on the air, live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and as always, thank you for joining us on this fine Monday evening. We're back from hiatus, so it's nice to see everybody piling in the chat. Football has definitely taken some time to get a little bit adjusted, and of course with the draft and with everybody finally settling into their new home and getting jersey numbers, and of course getting prepped for rookie camp, it's definitely made for a pretty intriguing talking point, especially for tonight. And it just made sense to take a little break after the draft was finally done with, and we just reset, revamp, and revitalize ourselves, because we got a long stretch to go, guys. It's a lot of ball to talk. It's a lot of off-season to talk. This is really where the Titan Upload Network makes their money. So this is where we have our experience. And of course, when we talk experience, you got to talk about the man and the myth and the absolute pleasure of having him in, Tyler Staggs, my co-host and cohort in crime. Tyler, great to see you after being off a week. We got so much to just dive into.
And that we do, and great to see you after a much-needed week off. But, Michael, we were talking about this before the show. Man, that was a long week. Like, it felt more like a month, really. But we got stuff to talk about, and it's going to be a fun show.
That we do. I mean, let's just be honest right now. Everybody has been just drooling over the last 72 hours, really, of just all the Cam Ward content that's been coming out. I mean, it's just getting flooded out there, Tyler. I don't know what we're going to do with all this great content that we keep getting from the Titans media people.
I'm telling you, I can watch those 3 clips over and over and over again.
Oh, it's 4 now.
Oh, well, all right, 4. My bad. Sorry.
Your cup runneth over. So
sorry, Titans media team, you are spoiling us with a 4th clip. I'm so happy. Like, come on, give us more. Like, even if it's behind the scenes stuff from leading up to the draft, give us something.
Let me put it to you this way. I'm still trying to figure out what the Titans media team was doing at Cam Ward's Pro Day. You feel like that they're putting together something, especially moving forward, but I'm kind of just left wanting more.
It's
just aggravating to me, especially the fact I've seen quite a bit of Shedeur Sanders. I've seen quite a bit of Abdul Carter. I've seen quite a bit of Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
If that's saying something. It's like, can we just hit the gas a little more? Just let's get a little closer to where we're trying to get to.
Yeah, and like you said, they may be working on something, but honestly, at this point, you were at his pro day. You had the media team at his pro day. You have drafted him. And that was, 3 weeks ago? Like, now we already in past rookie minicamp. They're together with the veterans now. You've had enough time that you can give us a little something more. Like, I would be fine with like the meetings, like what the Giants are posting of Jackson Dart when him and Dayball were, up on the whiteboard, all that. Like, give us something.
I don't think you're going to get much from that experience. I mean, especially from John Gruden's experience. I think Dart doesn't even have a silent count.
Right.
So that's just food for thought right there. But I digress. getting back on track, of course. We've got a lot to talk about, especially over the last 72 hours once again. So, Tyler, we don't want to waste everybody's time. They've been waiting for us to come back and put our 2 cents on the topic. Are you ready?
I am ready, Michael. Let's get to it.
Back at it and getting ready to burn the bridge down. We are rolling through this Monday night on the Power Hour, joined by Tyler Staggs. Of course, I'm your host, Michael Bishop. Let's jump into the first segment as of right now.
And here's the kick.
Let's just say this. We're going to talk about Cam Ward. That's given. But let's just set him on the burner and let's just turn the heat down just a little bit, because there's a few other things that I think are really intriguing. Femi Oladejo is looking like a steal. Now, I know, let's hit the brakes, Mike. I know this dude's got a lot to prove, especially transitioning to a position that he only played roughly about 6 starts within last year. But Tyler, you have got to love what you've seen so far from Femi.
Man, like you said, we have to make ourselves pump the brakes a little bit. But, I mean, the clips that we've seen of him, you see that power that he has. And let's be honest, Michael, the man looks the part. Like, rocking that number 53, and as far as looking the part, Titan Bro says it, that dude's muscles have muscles. Like, he fills out the 53 on that jersey. And you see the power and the energy that he brings. I know the clip's been going around, him already yelling out on the field, like, don't be walking on my field, like, run. Like, that energy coming from a rookie, like, that's what you love to see right there.
I'm just going to tell you right there, it's almost like it was aligned in the stars for Femi and Keith Bullock to basically be tied in with one another. Let's just be honest. The man was drafted by Keith Bullock.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy to me, especially the fact that you just see that connection there and it becomes even stronger. So I'm hoping that these two definitely just have a sit down and that, Femi can definitely pick Keith's brain a little bit to see just how he played his position at the linebacker. And, of course, see what he can do and learn from Mr. Monday Night himself. But, Tyler, we look at what Femi's coming into. He's definitely a project, and a very high-end project, especially coming out of the second round. But understandable, there's traits there that you look for, especially in a pass rusher, especially with the strength that he projects, especially with the mindset that he comes in with. What are you looking for in 2025 for Femi to accomplish?
What I'm looking for him to accomplish this year, I'm not going to go like kind of stat based or anything like that. I'm going to go. I know he has the power. And like you said, he hasn't been playing this edge position very long. I mean, he's got 6 games under his belt at the edge position. I just want to see him over the course of this year really polish up more of his game from that edge rusher aspect. Again, we know he has the power, but can he start adding other moves in to win off of the edge? What else can he really start to refine as far as a skill set and a way to win against these tackles and create pressure? That's what I want to and expect from him this year.
And that's That's fine expectations. And I really feel like, especially coming into this year, you know, everything's still kind of a project in a way. We know what this team's going to be. If they can get about at least halfway better than what they were last year, it's success within itself. And I think Brian Callahan, that needs to be the mark right there, that these guys can progress going forward in 2025 to potentially build for something more long term in the next year or two. But of course, let me get back to this point, Tyler. I mean, you almost feel like that Femi's going to have to pick up a lot of the slack, especially with a lot of question marks with this defensive line itself. I mean, not talking about our big center clogging lanes, but of course, your edge players, it leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah, it does. And like you said, that's, we'll see. We're still early in camp. I mean, today, first time rookies are getting to work with the veterans. Obviously, being a second round pick, you would hope that, that does mean that Femi's going to be able to work his way up to, potentially being in that starting lineup. And really, what it's going to come down to, we know we got two guys in the middle that are going to require a lot of attention in Big Jeff and Tavondre Sweat. Like, as of right now, if you look at our D line, and if we were to play a game tomorrow, opposing coaches are going to say, okay, we're going to double team them. Like, we don't see really as big of a threat coming off of the edge. That's where we'll leave our one-on-one matchups right now. Because, really, on paper right now, there's nothing to be afraid of in this Titans edge room. But like you were saying, that's where it's going to come down to, like with Femi, he's going to have his opportunities. He's going to have his one-on-one matchups. So that's where, the pressure from being on this D line can come in. How often can he win those one-on-ones?
Then, of course, we look at our other project guys that are basically kind of just recovering from injuries, waiting to see what they can do once they finally get cleared, more than likely once training camp rolls around. And, of course, Kyle Mullins is one of those guys. But, of course, one other guy that I definitely have a lot of intrigue in, Winston Jr. to me, Tyler, I feel is one of those guys that you want to put on a shelf and basically just try and get him to full 100% health, especially with Amani Hooker's contract situation coming up. That kind of feels like here we are, we're planning long term, very Mike Bergonzi-esque, especially with his tenure with the Chiefs.
Yeah, like you said, with Kevin Winston right now. Sorry, I'll be right back.
Tyler's had dad duty, so it's understandable. So I'll fill in on that thought while he's taking care of his little tyke. So let's just take this into consideration, especially in a contract year. Can Hooker get extended before the season kicks off in 2025? It's possible, but I'm really not 100% sure what Mike Bergonzi is going to be thinking, especially coming into the next season. Are they basically trying to clear the house down and just tear down a few things, especially looking for just some better prospects going forward? It's probable, but I would also have to think you're really trying to just hedge your bets at this point. It's understandable to me. I feel Winston Jr., especially with the whole injury aspect of him only even having just a little bit of tape, it gets people a little antsy. And especially from just the standpoint where the Titans took a lot of risks on a lot of draft perspectives that really shouldn't have had a chance taken on them. And I mean, of course, it is what it is. It's a different regime. It's a different setup. It's a different narrative. Understandable. And I can understand why most Titans fans just felt that this might have been just kind of a lost pick situation. But I do feel that guys like him, especially that have first round quality and fall in your lap, you kind of have to take that chance. So it's not a big risk to me, especially since the fact it's like the Titans aren't massively hurting in the safety department. They signed Xavier Woods to a 2-year deal. I feel that that's going to be just kind of the band-aid situation, and he's productive, especially with his work ethic, so I'm not too concerned about that. Hooker, of course, we'll see if they decide to extend him even before the season starts. It's not a bad narrative to have, but I think Winston Jr., especially with this team trying to get themselves in a position to build something more stronger and long lasting, I think you have to just think, especially in just terms of just maybe a short term perspective, that while you're trying to build your long term goals, it doesn't hurt to have short term plans, especially just for the moment.
All right, I'm back. And like you were saying there, Michael, and to kind of hit on, get my opinion out there. I'm not too concerned right now with how the Titans are managing Kevin Winston Jr. You know, like you said, we have Xavier Woods that they signed to a 2-3 year deal. Still have Amani Hooker. You as far as obviously you want to see the draft picks play, but with Kevin Winston, reason he fell because of the injury, and had it not been for that, he would have been a guy, like you said, probably taken first round, early second round, and he fell to the third round. Like, at that point, you take a chance on a guy because, like you said, you're building for the future. And you can't just, you can't throw on like the short term goggles of, oh man, well, they need to find a way to get this guy out there. Like, no, it can be a thing where you're looking ahead to next year with him, where you let him develop this year, let him get completely healthy. He can still get some playing time, but there's no need to rush him into things right now.
Absolutely. And I mean, Mike Bergonzi, I think you look at what he's building from a perspective of success. And I think one of the things the Kansas City Chiefs did well, especially with his tenure there, was basically they became just a revolving door for players. And I mean that in a positive way. When they had a tough decision on contract extensions or if they had to extend a guy, they were drafting in multiple positions where you were kind of scratching your head thinking, well, they're kind of covered in this area. Well, there's a reason why. And it was basically because they were looking at least maybe 4 years down the road because they finally got to that point in juncture where they could actually afford to start looking ahead. And I think that's what Mike Bergonzi wants to do with this Tennessee Titans team going forward.
Yeah, I agree. And also, like you said, he wants to build it for the years going forward. And as they've mentioned all throughout this process, finding guys that can help, build up this new culture for the team. And, from everything I've heard from Kevin Winston so far, I think he can be a key piece in doing that. So, even more of a reason why they grabbed him where they did, and why, while it would be nice to have him out there, again, you want him for the culture he can help build as well right now, and that plays just as big of an impact.
Yeah, no rush. Just no rush on him. But like I said earlier, we set Cam Ward on the stove, let him simmer. Now he's coming to a boil, so I think we'll pull him off and hit this topic. Tyler, Cam Ward, especially from accounts of Austin Stanley of A2C Sports and Teron Davenport of ESPN, have basically come out and said, he looks good. Mm-hmm. He's got some zip on the ball. He's throwing it a different way than we're normally used to seeing quarterbacks play, but it's not a big deal. Cam is definitely starting to look like the real deal. So let's just let's just say, are we overreacting a little bit, or is it worth being a little bit excited over?
Look, why is there anything wrong with being excited and maybe a little overly excited about the quarterback that your team drafted number 1 overall?
But here's the thing, and I'm going to make this point real quick, and I'm sorry to jump in front of you.
No, you're good.
It could be borderline scary, especially with the fact that we went in last year with Will Levis, and we were hearing all these things, and we were seeing some things that were slightly improving. But I'm not trying to rain on the parade, but I'm just trying to just say, probably doesn't hurt to carry an umbrella.
It doesn't hurt to carry an umbrella. At the same time, while we were seeing, like last year, some small improvements with Levis at camp, we were also getting Mayo commercials and everything where, to quote Austin Stanley on his notes from the rookie mini camp, Cam Ward's been all business. And that's kind of the way Cam Ward carries himself. Now, look, you take everything you have to take everything nowadays with like a grain of salt. Like, you can be excited about what we're seeing, but I think another reason of also being overly excited right now, and we hit on this earlier, is the lack of like clips that we are actually getting to see of Cam Ward right now. I mean, like we said, we're up to 4 clips right now, and as Titans fans, if we want to see any Cam Ward action, we have to watch those 4 clips over and over and over, and there's really nothing else to go off of. So, I mean, you have to be excited about something, right? Like, even I saw the jokes about a handoff that he had, like, no one else handing the ball off like Cam Ward. Like, you dang right no one else is handing the ball off like Cam Ward right now.
But I mean, from a perspective wise, it's refreshing to me to have a quarterback that's so locked in right now, that's hungry, that has this drive, that they want to get in and just start making improvements. And I mean, he's already calling receivers back for running wrong routes or just not running the route properly. Mm-hmm. So he's doing all the things he needs to do in terms of trying to show leadership and the agility to basically just be the face of this franchise. And it's refreshing. But let me get to this point, Tyler, and I think it's something that we need to definitely have a discussion about. But of course, we're probably not going to have a full discussion on it. But what should the expectations be for year 1 of Cam Ward? And I mean, from the most realistic standpoint you can give.
Expectations for Cam Ward. Obviously, seeing improvement week to week. Like, as of right now, from like the pressers where we've heard Cam Ward talk, and even Brian Callahan talk, they're not really going to mess with anything upper body wise with him, with his throwing, but they do want to improve his footwork. So expectations for this year, seeing that him actually continuing to improve that footwork, and seeing how he responds to mistakes he makes. Does he learn from them? And, I don't want to dive in too much stat-wise right now. I feel like that can, expectation-wise, that can kind of wait till more towards the start of the season, see how he's settling in. But my expectations for him are, and realistically, we know how much he dives into the playbook, my expectations are he's going to command this offense very well. Now, I'm not saying he's going to go out and break rookie records, things like that, and that he won't make mistakes.
I mean, he could.
He could.
He very well could. Some of these records that have been standing, at least for a good while, are very obtainable.
Right. But, even if he makes mistakes, my expectations are he's going to be so locked in that he's going to know how to fix those mistakes. He's going to know the playbook well, and he's going to command the offense well, because that's just the type of guy he is. Like you said, he's already calling guys back for, running the wrong route, or if the route isn't ran to like the standard that they're trying to set. And that's how, he's going to be a leader on this team. And that's another expectation that I have for this year. I think he's going to early on take that leadership role on, and you're going to see that immediate impact.
And to finish it all off, Ty, let's end with this point. These few days with the veterans and the rookies being in sync, that they're going to have the time to work together. What's something that you would like to see during this time period, or even here, for Cam Ward to be basically represented as? What's something you would like to hear that Cam Ward's doing well? I guess is a better way of putting it.
I would expect that the Titans are going to do, some 7-on-7, 11-on-11, like we've seen other teams doing around the league. Now that the rookies are mixed in with the veterans. What I want to hear, and this goes back to me talking about how my expectations are for Cam to have control of this offense. I want to hear about him getting in and out of like the huddles and, the communication aspect, making the calls. Obviously we know from the rookie minicamp, they're slowly implementing things in. So I want to hear that he has a good firm grasp of what they're doing, and being able to get in and out of the huddles, make his calls at the line of scrimmage, all of that.
It'll be an interesting next couple of days as the vets and the rookies get ready to start putting in some work. We'll see how far along they'll need to go, how far they are, and of course, what it'll be in play, especially when these teams start preparing for the official summer camp, which will be coming up soon in July. So we might as well enjoy this little bit of ball, guys, because this is going to be the dry time of the year. And like I said, this is when Titan Upload Network starts making its money for real. So that's just keeping you guys entertained while we try and get us back to regular football. But in the meantime, no worries about that. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. And when we come back, the wide receiver room is a night and day comparison, Tyler. And I've got to admit, we have got some interesting viewpoints of how this wide receiver room will look in 2025. Who makes the cut? Who doesn't make it? We'll share it with you when we come back right after this.
watching the Power Hour with your hosts, Michael Bishop and Tyler Staggs.
The Power Hour is on the air, live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and as always, thank you for joining us on this fine Monday evening. The chat's booming, and Tyler, we got a lot of things, especially booming up in the chat, especially we got to get to these real quick. Shout out to Al Pierce, our good buddy. 33 months of membership. Congratulations, Al. I mean, I'll dig up something special for you, but in the meantime, that is some mad dedication. Al is like on all the shows. He's always hanging out with us, and he's always giving great insight. Al, you're our man. We love you. We appreciate everything that you've done for the network. So congratulations to your 33 months.
Yay!
And shout out to Streamed. Alice just became a sponsor, so shout out to Al once again. It's all Al tonight. So shout out to Steven, by the way. And of course, yes, Steven, Wednesday's going to be the big day. The NFL 2025 schedule release will be dropping 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'm pretty sure Upload will be doing a show breakdown. Maybe Rossi will join them. I would like to get in on that if I have the time and if I'm awake, because my work schedule is very demanding. So we'll see how that goes. But of course, you know, we're definitely going to chime in on the whole narrative as well. So, I mean, before we jump into our next segment, I mean, Tyler, pretty intriguing, especially with this whole narrative with how the schedule gets released. It's a lot more complex than people want to give it the credit that it really deserves to basically be built. But also, you got to understand, we've come a long way from people just like writing down little notes and post-its to like try and figure out how to get a schedule put together for all 32 teams. You know, it's just, we've come a long, long way. So
yeah, I mean, like you said, it's come a long way, and there's a lot that goes into it. And, obviously I'm excited to see when the Titans are playing who, all of that. But I'll also say another thing that I really enjoy now is seeing all of the schedule release videos that all 32 teams come up with.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we got solid matchups. I mean, we've already found out at least a few matchups. We already know who's going to be opening for Thursday football once that rolls around, September 4th. The Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles will be taking on the Dallas Cowboys, which I think is a fine matchup. I mean, people don't want to hear it, but the thing is, the Cowboys draw a crowd. They're always going to draw them on all the major games. That is how it is. The NFL wants to sell the product.
I saw a funny comment on that, and I just have to mention it right quick. It was talking about how, I wonder how hard the Eagles maybe tried to push for that to have Dallas as the opening game, because that's going to be the game where they're, showing the banner for winning the Super Bowl. So, just kind of rubbing a little dirt in your division rival's face, especially when it's the Cowboys, because like you said, Cowboys draw a crowd. It's the first game of the season. It's already going to have a bigger crowd. And yeah, Eagles, if they had any push for that, there was definitely some thought behind it.
Well, I always felt it was a great matchup. I mean, there's just great history behind the teams. I mean, it's just that hateful rivalry between them, and I dig it. That's what sells these things. So it's just funny to me. It's like people just don't see it as a good game, and I can understand the fact that the Eagles swept the Cowboys last year, but let's just be honest. Dak wasn't playing, so honestly, I wasn't expecting much from him anyway. And let's just take into consideration also that the year prior, the Cowboys swept the Eagles.
That is true.
So there's intrigue either way you look at it. I think with both these teams healthy, especially in the beginning of the year, this is going to be a really good matchup. I think it's a good way to start the NFL year. you knew Philadelphia was going to be the team right there that was going to get that little nudge for their opener. Duh. Go figure. But I honestly felt like, the Giants are going through their thing, so that's not much of a draw at this point. Washington would have been intriguing,
Mm-hmm.
but I really kind of feel like that maybe that's another Sunday night matchup down the road, or maybe a Monday night game. But I mean, regardless, I think it's a good matchup. I think the NFL got it right there. So, regardless, I think that's a great way to open the NFL season. But of course, we'll find out what happens Tuesday with some of the other games dropping, and of course, the big night Wednesday is the one that matters the most. All right, Ty, let's go ahead and stop beating around the bush because people want to find out about this wide receiver room. The Tennessee Titans have come into 2025 with a pretty good problem to have, which is something that they haven't had in maybe a couple of years. But I digress. Let's jump into segment number 2, rolling around with Titans talk. So let's start with the basic. You got to start with number 1. I mean, what more can I say, Ty?
I mean, gonna be Cam's number 1 guy, I believe, to go to. Number 1 receiver on the team right now. I mean, one word, lock.
But it's funny to me, you've got certain lists that are kind of floating around the web that don't even see him as a wide receiver 1.
And that is so shocking to me too, because I get why people do it to an extent, because it's the Titans. He plays for the Titans. He's getting older, so they're gonna discredit him. But this man put up over 1,000 yards last year, even with how bad Will Levis and Mason Rudolph were playing. Like, all the times this dude was missed wide open, especially deep down the field, he could have easily, I'm going to say he could have topped 12, maybe 1,300 receiving yards. Like, he can be a number 1, and I don't know why people discredit that.
Yeah, I mean, but it just goes back to what you said. He's a Tennessee Titan. Obviously, you just go into wide receiver obscurity once you become a Tennessee Titan. But I guess also with our next guy on the list, that's going to be the case here too. So Tyler Lockett, of course, and very intriguing, but a very needed free agent addition to this team. I expect him to play on just about every spot that the wide receiver needs to play at because he's a Swiss Army knife. But of course, he gets lost in the mix as well because Tennessee Titan.
Yeah, and like you said, Tyler Lockett, Swiss Army knife, and maybe I should have saved my one word of lock for Lockett, because I do believe he's another guy that's going to be locked in to leading, being one of the top guys in this wide receiver room that is going to make the final 53. He's a veteran guy. He's not a field stretcher, a burner, anything like that, but he's going to be reliable for your young quarterback, and he's going to move the chains.
That's what this team needs. I mean, they need a reliable wide receiver that can play on multiple positions if needed and just be a distraction if needed as well. Especially, it's nice having a guy that could be just a very, very accessible weapon for a very young quarterback. So here's where it's going to get tricky, Tyler. With wide receiver 3, I mean, you can either go with experience or you can plug in one of these kids that's going to get an opportunity to try and showcase what they can do. So where do you think we're going to go with this?
I mean, you've already locked in 2 veteran guys. At this point, you got to bring in some young guys.
Right. So, I mean, you would think that I would want to go and plug in a third veteran, but that's just not where I'm going to go with this. Not at all. So, Tyler, if it was you, who would be your number 3?
If it was me, my number 3, and I have a pretty strong feeling our number 3s are going to be the same because we need a big body guy out there. And like I said, I want one of these younger guys getting pushed on up there. So give me Ayo Manor as my wide receiver number 3.
You sly dog. Yeah, I mean, that's my whole debate right here. Elikai Mander's going to be the guy that Traylon Burks was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I know anybody that's gone back and watched a lot of his film, he has had some drops, but at the same time, I'm going to I'm going to go on his side and I'm going to defend him right here. The quarterback play at Stanford was horrific. Absolutely horrific. Most of these games and most of the opportunity, he was the guy that was trying to get most of the catches. Like, he was the guy. He was their premier guy. So bad quarterback play was a lot of it. Placement was a lot of it. Some of them I'm going to say, Iron Manor had an opportunity at getting some plays right there, but I'm going to just say some of them he could have caught.
Right.
However, though, I gotta give the guy credit where credit's due. He has a great set of hands when he has the opportunity to. And Steven brings it up, of course. This is the Travis Hunter kryptonite that we're hoping that we can get.
Yeah. Don't tell other people online that outside of the Titans fan base, because all I've been getting back from that is that was Travis Hunter's first game back from injury. You could look and tell he was tired, especially at the end of the game. Look, he chose to play both ways, especially even coming back from injury. He didn't have to do that. He could have just played corner that game and maybe been more fresh, but he didn't. And Ayo Manor made him pay for it.
I'll say it to whoever I want to. It's the truth. So we've got our 3 set.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 vets, 1 young rookie with potential high side. So Tyler, we got to think of our 4th guy. So this is going to be a big wide receiver room. And I would say, well, for argument's sake, it's either going to be, we're going to be carrying somewhere between 6 and, maybe 8 wide receivers. So where do we go next? We're definitely bringing in youth, but which guy?
Yeah, so next, the way I look at it, for wide receiver 4, you want a guy that's you can just truly do so much with, move them around, and a guy that could also contribute on special teams in the return game. So number 4, like you said, continuing with the youth, I'm going to go with Chimere DK.
And I agree. I mean, I think DK is going to definitely get a heavy look on special teams. He's got the speed that you're looking for, but also it's a change of pace.
Mm-hmm.
We're bringing in a guy that's definitely got some burners.
Yeah.
And the Titans need somebody with some kind of burners on their feet at this point. I like the diversity, and I will say this: the diversity in the wide receiver room is just night and day from what we've seen in the last few years. You've got speed guys, you've got big physical wide receivers, you've got savvy veterans, you've got veterans that have had an opportunity to really just showcase their skill set, especially just through a bad situation. You got a little bit of everything, Tyler. And I think DK right here is just another nice addition to this nice little gumbo we've got going.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned it. The speed, that's another part. Like, obviously, I still think Calvin Ridley has some wheels to him, but you need that guy that truly has that burner speed, and DK has that, and he's the guy that can, another guy that can stretch the field for you.
So right there, we're going to get him in one way or the other, whether it's special teams, whether it's just an opportunity to run him in a specific set, wide receiver formation set. So let's look at our number 5 guy, Tyler. And I mean, we could use some veteran help right here, but I also feel maybe this is where we need to try something different.
I agree. And I know where you're going, and this is one of the guys that I've been saying.
This isn't one of the guys.
No,
Some would say that this is the guy.
This is the guy. I'm saying it right now. He's going to make the team. He's going to make the 53.
Look, Teron Davenport came out and said he's easily the best polished wide receiver in this draft class. And that's saying something at this point. And I know it's early, but we're saying what Teron Davenport of ESPN came out, who played wide receiver in college, came out and said, easily, this is the most polished wide receiver the Titans have in their draft, in their room right now.
Mm-hmm.
From the draft. And he wasn't even drafted. Of course it was Xavier Restrepo.
And he's already got the chemistry with our quarterback. Like, I forget what Jared Stillman says. If there was a undrafted free agent wide receiver for you to cheer for and want to make this team, Xavier Restrepo is the one.
I don't even see this as an underdog story at this point. I don't know why he ran probably one of the worst 40s I've seen a wide receiver run in forever. Let's set that away. Let's set that aside for a second. The skill set's there.
Mm-hmm.
And I said this on Twitter yesterday. I basically came out and said, it's not the Titan fans want him to be successful or to be a star. It's he has the skill set and the tools to be a star. And yes, I said he has the skill set and the tools to be a star. They're practically trying to do what the Cincinnati Bengals did when they brought in Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow. Now, I'm not saying Xavier Restrepo is going to be Jamar Chase. Let's pump the brakes on that. I don't want any receipts on that whatsoever. But I'm saying you're smart enough to just look at a situation where two guys put up a lot of numbers together, especially one of these guys broke just about every major wide receiving record that he could possibly get his hands on. It only makes sense.
Yeah, and I want to hit on something. MB, you know we always appreciate your comments. I want to talk about this. You're saying chemistry in a different system. That doesn't hold a lot of water yet. Let's just wait and see. Here's the thing. That chemistry, it doesn't matter that it is a different system. Number one, Brian Callahan has already said that he's going to integrate concepts that were used at Miami into this offense. So that's one bit. You're already integrating some of Miami's offense into this. Cam Ward has talked about some of the concepts that the Titans ran last year already matched up with what Miami ran. Now, here's where the chemistry in a different system, I think it does hold a lot of water already, because if these guys are in their playbooks, they know what play is called, and if Cam Ward knows where Restrepo is supposed to be, that chemistry that he has with Restrepo, he knows that Restrepo is going to be seeing the same things as him, and he knows that Restrepo is going to be at the spot he is supposed to be at.
They're simpatico.
That's where that chemistry, it doesn't matter that it's a different system. It's still going to hold weight. It's still going to hold that water because he knows he's going to be there, and he automatically trusts that he's going to be there.
This has got to be the most hyped I've ever seen a fan base over an undrafted free agent. Like, ever.
Yeah.
As long as I've been around this team and I've covered this team, I have never seen the amount of just support and just excitement around just a young man that didn't even get drafted and should have been drafted by all means.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the fact that he didn't get drafted is crazy, and I know people, like you mentioned, put the 40 aside. Like, watch the man's game speed. That his game speed is not 4.83 game speed. Like, he's not a burner. He's not going to be a 4.3, 4.4, or even 4.5 guy. But he's probably more of in that 4.6 range game speed.
He plays with grit. His game's just basically played with just grit. He's tough. He's movable. He's accessible.
And he wins with his quickness and route running. He's a really good route runner. He's got strong hands. I mean, he was great against man coverage. He was able to get open. He could find the holes in the zones. Like, that's, I don't care what his 40 is. If he's able to get open in man coverage, that was something that
Impressive.
we've seen the Titans struggle with over the last couple of years, is they didn't have, more than maybe one receiver that could consistently get open against man coverage. So if he can do that, that adds so much value.
Agreed. Moving on our list because we got a lot more to go. I like Bryce Oliver. I know this fan base likes Bryce Oliver, and I'm pretty sure this coaching staff likes him, and especially with the fact that he was really starting to catch fire a little bit early. So I feel like that's meritable enough for him to have another opportunity, especially going into 2025.
I will say, Michael, this is the one that I kind of switch up a little bit. As of right now, I think it's very likely that the Titans keep 6 wide receivers. I think at most they keep 7. But if they only keep 6, as of right now, Bryce Oliver is the guy that I have just on the outside looking in. And it's nothing against Bryce Oliver. I just think that at that point, the Titans will want to keep in another veteran guy first. Multi-year veteran guy first.
But who really stands out to you in the veteran presence? I mean, that's a tough sell.
It is a tough sell. But as far as just, multiple years of experience, veteran presence, as of right now, Van Jefferson is the guy that I slide in just over Bryce Oliver. But, again, just multiple years. So, but as we get on through camp, that could easily flip-flop.
Agreed. But you're going 6 on your wide receiver chart. Well, I got to go 7 because I feel like that they want to be deep at wide receiver this year, especially with the special teams area. I think they want to get quicker. I think Bones Fossil is really that guy that loves having wide receivers, especially because they can cover all edges of the field, especially on special teams. So some of these guys are going to get an opportunity there. So I say they keep Van Jefferson as well. They're going to keep as many veteran guys as possible, but you trying to basically pair up the right wide receiver with the right rookie as well in order to help them facilitate and get their skill set more built going forward. So Van Jefferson is definitely going to have a spot on this roster as well, which leads me to this. Who's getting traded or potentially hit to the practice squad? So make no mistake, I think Jaquan Jackson's definitely going to end up being a practice squad guy. I think there's value there with the team still. Colton Dow, I feel the same way. He's never had a season to really just progress under and just show his skill set. And of course, Mason Kinsey, fan favorite on the show, but I've always said, Mason's a practice squad guy. He is what he is. It's no knock on him, but sometimes you just are what you are. And if the Titans can keep him on the practice squad, that's just a valuable spot for a guy like him to just continue to put in the work.
Yeah, I mean, agree with everything you said there.
Which leads us to the next category, who is out. And I'm pretty sure we've all got our fair share of ideas, but this is pretty cut forward.
Yeah.
So Stanley Morgan and James Proch, Proch is a return man. I think he'll get an opportunity there. Morgan's another body. I think that they'll come in. He's familiar with the system. I just don't see where they fit in long term. They'd really have to have a fantastic camp and an even better, preseason to just showcase if they can still do what they're doing.
Yeah.
Burks, I want to say that they'll cut him. The salary situation I know is a little tricky, but if they feel that it's just more beneficial just to basically cut the line, then I think that's what's going to happen here.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth with a couple people on TikTok about this. Here's the thing. It's not going to kill them to just eat that salary if they cut him. Like, let's be honest, at this point, whether they keep him or they cut him, you're going to be paying him to more than likely not be on the field. And I don't say that in a mean way towards Treylon Burks, but he has not proven to be able to consistently stay on the field. So he's coming back from the ACL injury. Like, how's his recovery going? And again, either way, you're going to be paying him. So why not keep someone else that you feel can be more reliable or more available and help this team versus a guy who may come back, probably won't be 100% for a while, and even if he does hit 100%, how long is he going to stay at that mark?
Hopefully that's a cut that's going to happen soon. I mean, 4 years out of just no productivity, just inconsistency. It's time to make the move. I'm done with it. I know the fan base is done with it, and he's just had just an unfair shake and everything. But at the same time, it's like they gave him about as much opportunity as anybody could give him.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to cut a guy loose. That's all it comes down to. But let's go ahead and take our final break. And when we come back, of course, we talked NFL schedule, but Tyler and I will break down which games we feel are going to be the premier games that have a shot at getting primetime dates. So we'll break that down when we come back right after this.
So I was literally like maybe 8 or 9 days sober, still kind of like detoxing a little bit. And I just start singing it, man, and something just comes over me. And we get to the chorus part when I did that pause. So come on, everybody. The moment where I had that spiritual awakening, that spiritual experience. And I knew in that very moment, like, this was what I was supposed to do in my life.
So come on, everybody. So come on, everybody. So come on, everybody. Just lean on me.
watching the Power Hour with your hosts, Michael Bishop and Tyler Staggs.
The Power Hour is on the air, live streaming you on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and as always, thank you for joining us on this fine Monday evening. Guys, you kill it in the comments every night. What can I say that we don't say every night that I don't mean with all my heart? You gave us some great insight. You gave great comments. You gave great interaction. Shout out to you guys as always. And of course, a round of applause. And don't forget, as always, if you love the show, help it grow. Make sure you tighten up that like button for us. Subscribe, and of course, sharing is caring, and it's how we build the algorithm of the Titan Upload Network for you guys. So make sure you do all that for us before we get out of here. And before we get out of here, we got one more to go. So Tyler, let's jump into our final segment of the night and shut up shop.
Closing time. Good night, losers.
All right, Tyler. So for your choice of a primetime game for this year for the Tennessee Titans, no brainer.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you look at like the Titans' opponents for this year, I will say, wasn't my first choice, but not going to spoil anything for anyone. But when I look through the rest of their schedule, I'm like, I can't really see that being a primetime game. Can't see that. There's no real ties there. But then you look at the Chiefs, and it's going to be the first time that a team that Mike Bergonzi, as the general manager for the Titans, has helped build, is going up against the team that he spent so many years with, that he was with through Super Bowl wins and through drafting Patrick Mahomes and other guys. So there's a storyline there. And now, obviously Mike Bergonzi and the Titans have drafted Cam Ward, the guy that they hope to be their franchise quarterback. Like, there can be a build there to potentially make this a primetime game.
So in terms of primetime game, what are you thinking? You thinking a Sunday night matchup, Monday night, Thursday night?
Probably, since it's the Titans, I could see this being more of a Thursday night matchup.
I don't know. I kind of feel that this has Monday night vibes.
And maybe so. I just, when you ask me that question, Thursday night's just the one that is my gut feeling on it.
I mean, of course, it's a Mike Bergonzi homecoming game, which understandable. But at the same time, I would also sell Cam Ward versus Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, that's another. We've heard what quarterback coaches have said. Just going to leave it at that.
I mean, my whole takeaway is the Titans having Cam Ward, it makes the schedule a little more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So each game becomes more interesting on merit and on standpoint and on everything building towards it. But of course, I've got to say this. This to me feels like a very intriguing season opener. So if I'm the NFL, I feel I want to sell the narrative of revenge game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to be against the Patriots because the Mike Vrabel thing, it's going to get milked all week, no matter where they put it, no matter how they do it. I just get the sense that this game is just going to get a lot of attention, especially from the media on Mike Vrabel's standpoint. It's good. Mike Vrabel's going to get all the talking points here. That's all. The Tennessee Titans will be an afterthought. Brian Callahan will be an afterthought. This is basically Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. This was my first choice. But, Michael, you already had it locked in, and for good reason. Like, this is the game when you look at all of the Titans games for this year, this is the one that everyone is circling. Not because of the Titans, but it's because Mike Vrabel against the team that he used to be the head coach for. And, now he's the head coach for the team that he played the majority of his career with. Like, that's why it gets circled. But this is the one, like you said, it gets built up as that revenge game. So I definitely think this is like would be the top choice for being a primetime game. Plus, you have two young quarterbacks facing off. Drake May for the Pats, Cam Ward for the Titans.
Of course, I got to figure out a time slot for this one, and it's not going to be a Sunday night game. It could be a Monday night one, but I think the Titans will only have one Monday night game. I'm that confident. I think they'll have a Monday night game. So if I could see this being like, America's Game of the Week, maybe on Fox.
Okay.
So, you bring in Tom Brady for this one. I just feel like there's just some pretty good intrigue there.
Oh man, I hadn't thought about that, but that's a good point.
And B brings up Thursday night. I mean, it could be a Thursday night matchup, but I kind of feel like the NFL wants to milk this as much as possible. That's one of the best thing about these games, especially like this. It's a really good storyline. And I think that's just, it focuses centrally on Vrabel. So I think that's where they're going to try and sell it right there.
And
So
let me throw this in right quick. Sorry to cut you off, Michael, but what was one thing that with Mike Vrabel, it was always talked about, like, especially if the Titans had like a Thursday night game and then had that extended period of time to get ready for the next team they were playing, or if the Titans were coming off a bye week and you gave Vrabel that extra time to prepare his team, like how good he was, I could very easily see the Titans and Patriots matchup being, like you said, the game of the week where it's on Fox, but coming off of a point where the previous week the Patriots either had their bye week or they had a Thursday night game, so that Vrabel has that extra time, and you get that extra time to really build into that revenge game factor.
I mean, it works on all ends. The NFL gets to sell a story narrative there. It gets full center attention. And plus, it's two young teams with a second-year quarterback with a high ceiling and a rookie quarterback with a high ceiling. So it's win-win. But let me just ask this. Do you want an international game this year?
No.
Thank you.
No.
I've heard so many people saying, let's have another London game. I'm like, no, I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose a home date.
Yeah, I don't want to lose a home date, and also, like, I want to put this out there. Let's not make and this could be a silly reason, but let's not make our rookie quarterback have to go play like an international game right now. Like, let's just let him get his feet wet here in the States.
Yeah, and I agree with you, MB. We have sucked at playing in Wembley, so I don't want anything to do with it this year. I really don't. I mean, if you're a fan going for the experience of it, more power to you. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I don't want to lose a home date for no reason. Or even traveling and playing the Jaguars. So I'm good. All right, guys, that'll do it for us. We are done for the night. Thank you for joining us on the Power Hour. Once again, you have been phenomenal. And before we get out of here, a round of applause for you guys one more time. And don't forget, schedule will be released on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We will get you something, whether it'll be upload, whether it'll be Rossi. If I got to do the thing, I'll do the thing, because I want to make sure you guys have an opportunity to talk ball, especially on Wednesday, and how the schedule will line up and how it'll look going forward. we've got a lot to talk about. So thank you once again for joining us on the Power Hour. Shout out to Recovery Unplugged, one of our sponsors of the show, for always looking up for us. If you need help with any kind of addiction problem whatsoever, get in touch with Titans Rossi. Add his email, and he'll be sure to get you whatever help you need, whatever situation you're going through. That'll do it for us. We're done for the night. We'll be back next Monday to talk more football with you and potentially rank our top 5 games for the upcoming 2025 season. So for Tyler Staggs, I'm Michael Bishop of the Power Hour. And as always, take care and tighten up.
Tighten up.
You're watching the Titan Upload.